Seton Hall haven't had the opportunity to play, so I'm definitely on the lookout here for a great game from the Seton Hall side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Seton Hall, they're going to try to bring their A game. We see already a shot from Grau, almost able to take out Delaware, but unfortunately it looks like it's not going to be working out in their favor. But now we see Tone trying to get a little bit of value here, trying to set the tone very early on and kind of give a very early advantage to Seton Hall, when all of a sudden it's going to be back in favor of Delaware here in their back third. And already 20 seconds off the clock, and I say already because that feels like an eternity here in Rocket League. You expect somebody to normally score by now.
You know, a lot of like close misses, right? Great defense being played, and it's early on that we're seeing both of these offensive sides kind of just take pot shots at each other, and that is really exciting for the rest of this series, because it means that this is going to be an offensive game back and forth.
Absolutely, that's going to be a pretty offensive game coming out. We've seen nobody really have possession of the ball yet. It's kind of been just pass back and forth between the two teams, and these offenses have been just as strong as these defenses, so nobody has really had that time to think. They just had to react. And another great block from Kendall there, keeping Delaware's points, or keeping Delaware on that tied-up advantage and not giving Seton Hall that early 1-point lead.
Yeah, and you saw what Tone was trying to do there, just drop the ball straight in front of the goal. It didn't work out because it was a great defense from Delaware, but still, great ideas coming out from Seton Hall in their early stages.
Absolutely, and looks like Seton Hall going to have Tone get demoed early on by Vixen there. Delaware, they have that numbers advantage for just 2.5 seconds before that respawn comes in. So as you know, as I learned from Tugboat, and as Tugboat always says, you need to know the demo is coming to get any value off of it. Because if you don't know it's coming, by the time you say I demoed blank, they're already back. So it really does nothing for you. And there's another incredibly close shot that just nobody has been able to get it in the goal yet.
Yeah, but that move by Grau was just impressive. I don't even care that it missed. It was still incredible. I mean, nearly had it. It was beautiful.
Absolutely. And Delaware, they are all three phenomenal players, but Grau in particular, great offense, great defense, doing a phenomenal job all the way around on that in that field. And we've seen that already so many times, gone for so many shots on goal, getting another block here in the mix-up. And Seton Hall, they're trying to play that offensive kind of, we're going to push into you, and they're trying to force Delaware to play defense, but it's just not working out in their favor.
Yeah, and on top of that, I kind of feel that the Delaware, they've had some opportunities, right? But a couple of missed shots, right? Going a little bit wide on things, and that's maybe atypical at the moment. So definitely be on the lookout for that, and take the shots when you're given. And there was another opportunity, but a great block by Kendall denies it.
Phenomenal block indeed. I thought that was going to go in, but Kendall just barely able to make it. This game's so back and forth, so many shot opportunities coming out from both sides of these teams, but nobody has been able to find that one golden goal they want. But that first point on board, and Kendall, again, phenomenal defense from Delaware and Seton Hall so far. We are well past halftime at this point. Only 2 minutes and 10 seconds left, and still 0 points on board. That is very uncommon for both of these teams.
Not only uncommon, but remember early on, I was like, hey, this looks like it's going to be an offensive shootout. Well, there's the first goal. You'll love to see it. Seton Hall finally taking advantage of one of those opportunities and puts one on target.
Absolutely. Like you said, Seton Hall, they're going to get it in. Grau and Kendall just both do not jump high enough. And Green going to be able to make that happen. A phenomenal turnaround here. 2 minutes left on the clock. And Seton Hall, all they have to do is keep that 1-point lead for 2 minutes to take this series away.
I mean, exactly. Oh my goodness, another. Kendall is just an absolute monster there in the net. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely. Kendall has been nothing short of incredible so far. Some MVP status if I have ever seen it. Prevented an insane amount of goals. And Green gonna be able to block one from Delaware there. 1 minute 40 left on clock. And Seton Hall, they need to keep this 1-point lead, but Delaware, they need to break it. They need to at best push this into overtime if they want to not lose this first game.
Yeah, and well, now it's just about control for Seton Hall. As long as they hold on to the ball, keep some control, keep it on the opposing, half of the field, then they're feeling good.
Yeah, absolutely. They're definitely going to be feeling good. They want to keep it in the enemy's back third or kind of on the enemy's half of the field. They don't want to be near their goal at all, and so far it's not worked out super well for Delaware, and it looks like things are going to get worse as Vibes is going to be able to score again. Seton Hall going to put themselves up 2-0, and only 73 seconds left on the clock. This suddenly just became so difficult here for Delaware.
I mean, you talk the timings, right? Like, there's still plenty of time to come back, but if you think about the way that Seton Hall has been playing, even if they get even more defensive here, like, it's going to be a difficult task for sure. But Delaware, they certainly can do it. If there's anyone, it's this #1 seed.
Yeah, absolutely. It is going to be that #1 seed indeed. 60 seconds left on the clock. That is 30 seconds of gold here. And University of Delaware, they want to find this goal. They want to make that happen. They lost to the #2 seed team, right? They're looking like they might lose to the #3 seed team as well if Seton Hall can keep this momentum. But Something about Delaware is they have a lot more stamina than a lot of these other teams. We see teams come out super early on, they'll win dominant in the first game, and then they used all of their energy in that first matchup, and that's when Delaware really gets to run away with the series. Now Grau, 37 seconds from a tie.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was just saying, right? You talk about the timings, and you think, well, I mean, that's very difficult, but Delaware very much able to put that on target and bottom left corner. That's exactly what you want to see. Really great aim right there from Delaware to put it in the spot where it's just not easy to get to.
Absolutely. Not easy to get to at all. And Kendall goes for an early goal, as does Grau, with 30 seconds left on the clock. Delaware, you need to tie this up. You are running out of time. The clock is ticking, my friends. They want to try to find this in 5s. If they can find a third one, oh, that's the nail in the coffin here for Delaware. 20 seconds left. That is rough.
Take a look at this. Just absolutely beautiful touch. I mean, perfectly placed over the head of the defender, and no one can get back to it. I mean, Seton Hall, talk about a way to put a team on notice here in the opening game of a best-of-5. This is how you do it.
Absolutely, and like you said, this is a best-of-5, or whoever wins 3 first. So they want to get that online in tow, and almost from the skybox there, tries to get that one in goal, tries to take it all the way down, but with 7 seconds left, this is immediately impossible for Delaware to take this first game, and that is going to give Seton Hall a very aggressive early lead. Delaware in a deficit for the first time in a long time here.
Absolutely the case. That being said, it is, potentially 5 games. So a long series here to go. It doesn't really necessarily mean that we're going to be seeing too much of that for Seton Hall, but maybe we do. It all depends. 3-1 though, the eventual scoreline. And taking a look at the shot totals, it's pretty even. I mean, there's just a couple shot difference, and in general, I think that we can see that Delaware, whilst they lost this pretty convincingly, I don't think it was it wasn't a murder. It wasn't a smacking around or anything of that nature. And remember, I talked about it there in the opening stages of the game. I said, this is looking to be an offensive bout, and what typically that means high scoring. I think that was correct in that there was a lot of shooting, just a lot of great defense as well. So you love to see it. That means both teams firing on all cylinders and really stepping up big time.
Absolutely, and it's not often you see a game get as many shots as, I believe, 23 shots, 13 from Seton Hall and 10 from Delaware, and that's just insane that 23 in total is quite a lot for a 5-minute game. So something also to consider is, like you said, the shots were super close, 13-10. The extra 3, all coming from vibes on the side of Seton Hall. Was sitting, I believe, with 6. So they got the additional 3 shots on goal. Now, keep in mind, only one of them did go in, but still, just the aggression from Seton Hall has forced Delaware to kind of backpedal and take a mild defense, and that's something they are not familiar with doing at all.
Well, and when you're taking that many shots, it's okay. Everybody's taking that many shots. It's okay if all of them don't go in, and it looks good either way.
Absolutely. It definitely looks good either way for this team to really keep as many shots on goal as possible, because that's exactly where they want to be, right? They want to keep themselves alive. They want to get these shots on goal as quickly as they can. Now, 30 seconds off the clock again. Delaware, they've got ball possession for now, but if the defense from Seton Hall can keep up, I think Delaware's really going to start to struggle.
Yeah, I mean, they've already put on the pressure in game 1. That's the thing. And so now, I think that mentally you've got to reset a little bit and get back into this game if you're Delaware.
Absolutely, Delaware, you've got time to reset. This is a best-of-5. Losing 1, not the end of the world. Losing 2, now that's when you're going to want to worry a little bit. So if Delaware's going to be able to turn this around, like you said, we at most get 5 games between these two schools. Delaware, they're going to want to take it down at least to that 4th game, because if they let Seton Hall get 2 victories early on, it's going to be very difficult to win 3 more before Seton Hall will only have to win 1.
Yeah, I mean, and you gotta put yourself in that reverse sweep mindset, which is it's a hard mindset to be in. Let's keep it real. But look at that great passing. That's so beautiful. I love that from Seton Hall, and Tone knocks it straight in the back of the net.
Yeah, Tone, a phenomenal job there, already setting momentum for the team in Seton Hall. It's going to take a little over a minute, but they're going to get that early lead. The University of Delaware, they're going to be in the deficit again.
I mean, that's just a basic wall. Like, if you've ever played soccer, that's just a basic wall pass, right? You go 1, 2, and in, and it looked so pretty and easy for Seton Hall.
Yeah, absolutely. And now Tone looks for another one, but it's going to be green this time. Seton Hall going to be up 2-0, and that's definitely you can absolutely score twice in 3.5 minutes, but that means you have to get possession of the ball, and Delaware has not been able to do that yet so far. Seton Hall having possession of the ball the entire time and forcing, like I said, Delaware to kind of backpedal and play that defense that they don't like playing.
Well, and on top of that, that one very much looks like some frustration, a bit of mispositioning from Delaware. Whereas, the other one was just a great play from Seton Hall. That's a little bit different, but yeah,
Right.
definitely need to be looking out for Delaware to make adjustments.
Oh, all right. That's going to help, right? Vixa is going to be able to score. I think that actually bounced off of somebody from Seton there. I want to get another look at that. We'll watch it here in the replay. I think it might actually bounce off of... Okay, no. I thought Vibes bounced it in, but no, Vibes did not even make it in time. So, University of Delaware, they put 1 point on board. And like I said, 3.5 minutes to score twice. Sure, it's going to be kind of hard, but that's definitely doable. And now, University of Delaware only needs to score 1 more to tie it up.
And that goal, it shifts the mindset. You get back into things here if you are Delaware. And now this is a brawl. This is all on there for now. Seton Hall, they've kind of got everything to do to keep this lead.
Absolutely, Seton Hall, they want to keep this lead, and they're kind of in this unusual position that I talk about pretty often with the winning team, where realistically, you don't have to score again. Like, of course you want to, right? You want to get that point differential as high as possible, but Seton Hall could also just play a mad defense from here on out and win by a single point. So they could really kind of kick it into that defensive high gear.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing defense, though, you're playing not to lose, and to me, that's not playing to win. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So I like that. I like that for now. It looks like Seton Hall not electing to do that.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely not. Especially with as much time on the clock as there is, that would be a very high-risk scenario to follow up on. But now it's only 2.5 minutes, so we're just now going to pass through that halftime. University of Delaware was almost able to score their ground, just unfortunately a little bit wide of the goal, and it's going to be flipped right back in favor, heading toward University of Delaware's goal. Yeah, actually, it's just going to go all the way in.
I mean, that's just a very unfortunate pinch. I need to look at it again. We were on the far angle, but I think it just was a quick little pinch, and yeah, Tone just got a great touch, a great angle. Nobody was really in a position to follow that up for Delaware. They had kind of committed a lot of players there on the offensive side of the ball, and with that break, it was pretty easy for Seton Hall to get back, and like I said, a great find from Tone.
Absolutely. Tone has just been doing a great job kind of leading the team of Seton Hall in a great aggressive front here toward the University of Delaware. They have found the cracks in Delaware's armor, and they are taking absolute full advantage of them. Looking to take away their second game, 2 minutes left on the clock. University of Delaware needs to score a minimum of 1 time a minute to simply tie things up and force an overtime, let alone take the lead.
A little bit slow there, trying to just dribble around some players, but I mean, that amount of time setting that play up just not going to work for a team like Delaware, and playing against a team like Seton Hall, who have been, their pace has been phenomenal thus far.
Absolutely. They have really started to set the tempo and the momentum in favor of Seton Hall, and Delaware just unfortunately cannot keep up so far. Like we said, this is going to be a clash of the Titans, and one must fall, as Seton Hall is doing a phenomenal job giving it their all, and Delaware just cannot keep up quite yet.
Not quite yet, but still a lot of opportunities here for Delaware. I don't want to, get too carried away in the Seton Hall glory of things, because Delaware, they've been here. They've been making plays. It's just not been quite enough, and there's a great example of where you make the commitment. You have 3 players fully committed, and it's so worth it because you needed to find something here.
Absolutely. The biggest issue from Seton Hall there is all 3 of them want to play that immediate defense. They all want to hit the ball the first time, and that left the goal wide open after the connection came through, and Delaware, Rao in particular, took full advantage of that opportunity. 60 seconds left to tie things up. Now, this is going to be one of those now or never moments for Delaware. So, like I said, going into Game 3 1-1 is so much better than going into Game 3 2-0.
I mean, you're absolutely right. There's no question about it, but in Delaware, make it happen. 45 seconds left is a hard ask to find 2 goals to close it in regulation.
Absolutely, and that's going to, most likely, I think best case scenario here for Delaware is going to be that they tie things up and they move us into that overtime. And the unique thing about Rocket League is overtime does not end until a team gets the advantage. The longest overtime I've seen was like, I think 7.5 minutes, or maybe close to 7 minutes. I've seen some doozies in my time here with EGF, and now Grau getting that immediate demo early on. 21 seconds left. Delaware really getting into that now or never moment. This is going to be the time they have to score. They're going to have to take another loss.
This is rough, right? You've got a desperation time, right? You got to pick something up with this 8 seconds left.
Oh, and looks like we might see Grau get a goal. Gonna roll underneath. 3 seconds left on the clock. Grau does not go for the jump, and yeah, like you said, the fake comes through. Seton Hall takes the bait. We see, I believe, jumps right over Grau. Yeah, both of them go wide, and he goes right underneath. Scores the 3. 3 seconds left. This is a guaranteed overtime.
Grau, you madman! What? He's just like, yeah, no. Like if he commits there and they don't commit, like he just looks like a fool. But Growl's like, no, I'm just confident.
Yeah, that was very close as well. Tone was almost able to score right away, and yeah, gonna get blocked up. Ball touches the ground, and that forces overtime. Here we go, my friends. That clock will start ticking up until one of these teams can find that golden goal and put this game away.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing is, of course, the sudden death, and oh my goodness, Green wanted to do it all on their own, but fortunately, that was dispatched for the University of Delaware side of things.
Absolutely, Delaware did not get the, they did get the block as Green was not able to get that ball in goal, because that would have been huge for Seton Hall to have a 10-second overtime. I think really would have ended well in their favor. Of course, they would be up 2-0, but now every single time they get possession of the ball is more important than ever, because this is going to be the opportunity where Delaware scores. That's going to guarantee us a game 4. So Seton Hall, they want to put this one away, and they want to try to make it just a 3-0.
Delaware got to stop playing defense here. They've only played defense this 40 seconds. They finally get a clear, but look, it's immediately put back into the middle of the field to a 50-50. This has been a problem for Delaware here in the overtime period.
Absolutely, Delaware, they are struggling quite a bit in the overtime period, like you mentioned. And like you said, got to get off that defense. You've got to get pedal to the metal. You need to kick this into 5th gear and bring the heat, because this team, Seton Hall, they are not going to give up an opportunity if it is handed to them. So Delaware, you need to move in, you need to get possession of the ball, and you need to allow them 0 opportunity to succeed.
Exactly, and now they're trying to do that. We see some aggression and a lot of attempts to push it back, but the commitment is dangerous, and that's the sort of commitment that gets scary if you're Delaware, because you've got 2 players pretty heavily committed over on the other side, and you've got to fall back. You got to run away and try to get this ball in the midfield.
Absolutely. You've got to try to get this ball in midfield, at least, if not in your opponent's goal. You want to try to keep it on their end of the field, but, you know, at least get it away from yours. That's kind of the most important thing that needs to be done here. In Seton Hall, they keep going for the setups, but I think that was 2 in a row that they dropped there. Now looking for a third in the defense coming out from Grau, going to be able to knock the ball back toward midfield, back towards Seton's goal. Might be able to make this happen. Grau finds it into the air again, but a great interruption from Tone.
I mean, Grau nearly, shuts that down. But again, if you keep taking shots like this here, like the thing for Seton Hall is that eventually one of them is going to connect. You cannot hold your defense forever. That's the reality of it. The best defenses fall eventually.
Absolutely, yeah, I could not agree more. You can play defense a little bit when they've got possession of the ball, but you can't play what I call an expected defense. You can't be waiting to be on that defensive side. You want to push in, you want to get possession of the ball, and you want to get as hyper-aggressive as you can. You need to find this goal to take this win away, because if Seton Hall goes into Game 3 on match point, we could see another loss for Delaware. So they really want to take this win to reset their matchup.
I mean, maybe you've jinxed us in that the long overtimes, as we're just about 2 minutes and 40 seconds in already. Neither team able to pull it off. A lot of great defense from Delaware being played, though, at the moment.
Absolutely. Their defense is strong, but they're going to need an offense if they want to take this one away. They cannot play defense forever, and if they choose to only play defense, the only thing they're doing is tiring themselves out, so they need to get a little bit more aggressive. They need to try and score, but of course, that is so much easier said than done when all 6 of these players are probably playing at their most heightened form. A great setup from Grau, but a better interruption coming out from Vibes there. The ball not going to go into goal, and honestly, Vincent, I think I'm cursed, because every time I see an overtime here at EGF, it is a minimum of 3 minutes.
Oh man, this is the longest I've seen at the very least. But I just want to say, by the way, Growl trying that same move that we saw before, where he went underneath. Neither player committed above. I just want it to be known. They learned their lesson. They know. Seton Hall was like, no, not again.
Oh yeah, kind of a fool me once situation. Seton Hall did not want to be fooled twice. And Vixen now, nope, gonna go a little bit wide of the goal, go bring it up a little bit high. A great disruption comes through with a better block from Tone. Kendall tries to find the goal, tries to put one away for Delaware, but just can't make it happen. And now Grau trying to block Delaware's goal, but Vibes getting some great ball control, gonna throw it off center again. Phenomenal defense from Delaware. We are just now approaching 4 minutes. Almost an entire another game of Rocket League has been played.
Yeah, I mean, this is an incredible time-wise. And
this is game 1.
That was dangerous. Going across the net there, Delaware, honestly, there was 2 players from Seton Hall that could have potentially knocked that into the back of the net, but fortunately for Delaware, that did not happen. They got the clear anyway. So now another opportunity for Delaware, but again, these have been few and far between.
Yeah, they really have. I think we've seen Seton Hall kind of get a shot opportunity maybe 3 times per Delaware's 1, and now we see Grau going right in Vixa with the double tap, but unfortunately it's going to be blocked by Tone and Vibes there. So University of Delaware, they had kind of a good plan there, is, I'll try, and if it doesn't work, you come in right behind me, but, Seton Hall, they just had 2 defenders, and that made all the difference. Vixa just barely off the corner of the goal. We are now approaching that 5-minute mark of overtime, and that's going to be an entire another game of Rocket League. This is still game 1, folks. This is a best of 5, so one of these teams needs to win 3 games. For Seton Hall, currently 2 more. Delaware, they've got to win 3 more to take that victory here away today, but they are taking a game 1 down to the wire.
I mean, what a great attempt at that chip shot from Vixa, but just barely off as well. You got to be frustrated if you're Delaware off the back of that one. And again, now 5 minutes in and still no victor here in game number 2. Incredible showing from both of these teams.
Yeah, just phenomenal defense on both sides. And, I would like to see Delaware maybe get even a little bit more aggressive, but they've gotten so much more aggressive from the beginning of this overtime, 5 minutes ago when we were kind of ridiculing that. But I'd love to see them just play angry, and Grau just gets mixed up there. Vixa goes for a shot as well, but it's going to be knocked away. Here comes Vibes sending it back down midfield, and this game, I mean, it is getting danger close to the longest overtime I have ever seen. Vincent, welcome to the overtime that is Rocket League. This is what happens when you've got 2 great teams like this.
Poor Grau didn't have any boost. That would have been over. I think Delaware would have won if Grau had boost right there. Oh, so frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely. Not having boost is all about that kind of boost management. We see that issue a lot. Tone currently suffering from that same issue, sitting at that 0 boost, not going to be able to send the ball in hyper aggressive, and this is going to be quite a turnaround for whoever's able to take this, just now passing the 6-minute mark moving into this. Still going to be that overtime, and honestly, all 6 of these players have to be exhausted at this point.
I mean, yeah, like you've just got to keep going, and the hype as well, the communication, all has to be on point. You start to get that dry feeling in your throat where you're like, okay, now like we have to keep going. Okay, let's just keep on getting there. But yeah, it's all about who's able to be the best over the course of time, and right now neither team faltering here in this overtime period.
Yeah, nobody is going to falter, and I think we are. I mean, this is not looking like it is going to end anytime soon. Coming up on 7 minutes. So if this hits the 8-minute mark, it's going to be the longest overtime I have seen here in my Rocket League matchup. And it looks like this is going to be a phenomenal matchup. I also misspoke. This is game 2, not game 1. It's just been going for so long. I have lost track of what has been happening. But now that 7-minute mark in this game 2, Seton Hall, if they can put this one away, eventually, better late than never, they could be on match point. But if Delaware takes it, like I said earlier, that guarantees us a game 4.
Oh, that was almost a really tough redirect right there. But still, again, all of these times that I'm seeing, the potential shots, so many good ideas. Nobody's back. No one was back.
No!
There for Seton Hall.
That was huge. Yeah, Vixa just long shots it, and it goes in. Nobody was there to block.
He saw the opening, was like, well, okay, guys, I guess I'll have that one. Thank you very much.
After almost 8 minutes, a freebie is just handed to Vixa, but I mean, that's going to be great, because like I said, that guarantees us a game 4. Now, let's take a quick look at this, okay? We're looking at 26 shots from Delaware, okay? We are looking at, 17 from Seton Hall as well. So that is... what was it last game? I said, 23 is a lot.
Yeah,
throw that out the window, because Delaware has shot on goal more times this game than both teams combined in last game. And Seton Hall with plenty of their own. My goodness, these teams, I mean, not only are they taking it down to the wire in game, but now just in terms of how many games they have, 1 game underneath both of their belts here.
Man, that's so brutal for Seton Hall as well. I mean, such an obvious mistake, right? And I talk about it all the time on these broadcasts. I talk about how, the team that makes the least amount of mistakes usually comes out victorious. And at that time, I don't even know if that was the case. I feel like Seton Hall really did have very few mistakes. The thing about it is that Delaware's defense was just indomitable. It was literally unbreakable. You could not find a goal anywhere past that. They got 3 on the board, what seemed like out of nowhere at times. They just took advantage of really solid situations, and on top of that, some great plays. I don't want to undersell that part of that, but beyond that, it was all over, and we're already. I mean, these teams are ready to go. We're already in to game number 3. It's all tied up 1-1 at this point, Septolence.
Yeah, and honestly, okay, Vibes is going to score before we can even analyze what is going on. A great shot there for Seton Hall. I was just about to say, you know, there are no more excuses in terms of warming up, right? You just got out of a 12-minute game, so these players are probably all just itching to get back into this game. We saw that in particular from Seton Hall. They get 1 point online, and Delaware, they're in the deficit, but as we learned from that last game, that means nothing to them until that timer hits 0.
Not at all, and even once it does hit 0, they're still firing on all cylinders in that overtime. But yeah, beyond that, you know, Seton Hall, a good strong start once more is certainly what you need after that close loss in the last game.
No doubt on that. They want to keep this advantage early on. They want to get aggressive as quickly as they can, and Delaware trying to find any kind of goal themselves, but definitely struggling a little bit on the defense. And yeah, again, goal wide open from Seton Hall there. They just no wrong place, wrong time. Nobody was ready for Grau to come through so aggressively.
Oh no, I think I didn't see who it was, but they took a great touch there on the right side of the screen on the replay. We saw it, and that touch just really caught Seton Hall off guard, and that's what opened things up for Grau.
Absolutely, Grau did a phenomenal job there getting that fight opened up, and that early goal for Seton Hall no longer matters. Now we're just sitting in a complicated 0-0, right? Because the only way to win is obviously to have more points than your opponent. And Seton Hall, just as bad as Delaware. Both these teams want to make that happen, because if Delaware can take this one away, that first game will hardly matter for Seton Hall.
You're absolutely right about that. And, you know, beyond that, I will say that the Delaware now, they look a lot more formidable in their offense. I've kind of talked about how they've been slow to start in a couple of these games. This one, not at all the case. Their offense has been firing already, and I mean, we see that they've gotten a goal. That's no small task against Seton Hall.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Both these defenses in particular are very, very strong. We've touched on that quite a lot. But like you said, for Delaware to even get a goal on Seton Hall's defense is going to be just as impressive as it is for Seton Hall to get that goal so early on. So both these teams bringing their absolute A game, bringing their absolute 100%, because Delaware, they want to hold on to that #1 seed, right? Like, that is so important that they keep themselves tied up at the top of this. And I'm not sure if they move seed placement if they lose this one, but I mean, they're clearly not looking to lose it as Grau finds another goal and puts it away 2-1, 3 minutes and 16 seconds left on the clock. Delaware bringing it back to life.
Once again, that was just a weird touch by Vixa, and I think that both of the Seton Hall players misread it. They didn't know where it was going. They thought it was going a lot wider, and instead it was the double tap that was very effective. And I mean, listen, it might not have been planned that way, but that's being at the right place at the right time is half the job sometimes. And hey, there ain't nothing wrong with that, is all I gotta say.
No, I do not disagree with you at all, my friend. Sometimes there is nothing wrong with that. And Grau, I'm actually shocked that one went in. I thought it was going to bounce off the defender and head back out, but Vibes had the right idea, but the ball just did not. Oh, excuse me, so it wasn't Vibes, it was Tone. Tone had the right idea, but they just did not want to listen, and that is going to be great here for Delaware. They are really warmed up. They're starting to take this one and look like the Delaware we know and love.
Yeah, I mean, Grau is already searching for a hat trick as well. I mean, that's the beauty of it. You know, we're early on into this game. What was relatively low-scoring games, the last two, is now kind of blown up the other direction. But remember, this was the same type of look that we were seeing,
right.
You know, but opposite. Delaware was down, and Seton Hall was up. So Delaware won that game, remember. That was the last game, albeit the fact that it feels like an eon ago. So, you know, not out of it yet are Seton Hall, is all I'm saying.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that last game we saw Seton Hall was up 2-0, so it's still going to be that same 2-point differential that we were so worried about then. Seton Hall trying to make that happen here as well, because, I mean, 2 minutes to score twice, that is once per minute, that is mighty doable. But I think a big difference what we're seeing from Delaware is their aggression this time around has just been nothing short of hyper-intensive. They are bringing the heat every single time. If we see Seton Hall get possession of the ball, University of Delaware takes it back in the blink of an eye, and that's exactly how they need to be playing this. They can't let Seton Hall kind of formulate or get toward their goal. They just need to constantly be in possession of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, Delaware looking like some hyenas looking for their food when it comes to getting onto that ball very quickly. And once again, another great attempt there, but is denied.
Oh no, another! Bro! Speak of the hat trick, right?
Hat trick.
Speak of the hat trick, and it shall appear. That is Seton Hall. I think they've kind of made the same mistake a little bit, that nobody's even near the goal. That's the issue. I think that's the third time we've seen that issue from them.
Yeah, I think that right now they're trying to adjust to Delaware playing so ultra aggressive compared to what they were doing before.
Right.
And they're overcommitting their resources a little bit because of that in the attempt to make an adjustment, right? I don't think that Seton Hall has just suddenly become not as good. It's just that they're trying to deal with what Delaware is throwing at them, and it's forcing mistakes.
Absolutely. Delaware is forcing Seton Hall to react here, so their initial game plan is not going to be working out as flawlessly or as well because Delaware, they've changed things up, and that's going to force Seton Hall to change things up as well. So not only may they be, sweating a little bit and struggling to change their game plan, but the aggression from Delaware is not making any of that easier. So that's going to be, kind of a bunch of things stacked on the shoulders of Seton Hall, but they might be able to find a goal here, but they've just got too many defenders from University of Delaware. 3 minutes left to score, 1 minute left to score 3 times, and Seton Hall, things are looking bleak. Difficult, but not quite impossible yet.
Yeah, I mean, impossible is certainly rarely a term that I would say, when you got 40 seconds left, but I mean, still, it's not ideal. And on top of that, I think that Delaware, the fact that they've looked so different here is a little bit worrying if you're a Seton Hall fan.
Yeah, absolutely. Now 30 seconds left. That is once per 10 seconds. This game is getting quite close to over here for Seton Hall, but they still are only going to be down by that one loss if Delaware is able to take this one away, which, as we approach those final 15, 20 seconds, I'm not sure Seton Hall is going to be able to score one time per 5 seconds. So things are looking pretty good for University of Delaware here on Game 3, and like I said, the Seton Hall winning Game 1 guarantees us that matchup in Game 4 as well.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. You're not wrong about that one. And, well, Vibes does get one for the road, but with 1 second left, it is just one for the road. A bit of an overcommitment there from Delaware, allowing for that to happen. But again, it's not the worst. You hate to see it, I guess, if you're Delaware, but it's just about confidence now for Seton Hall to get one on the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great morale booster. That's always something that I like to kind of bring up is that you don't win that one, but you weren't shut out either. You got some points on board, and that's not going to be enough to win the matchup. But like I said, not a shutout. So you know that there's room to improve, and you know there's a possibility to score. You just need to, again, take advantage of kind of the cracks in Delaware's armor. And we've seen Seton Hall do that successfully once already. Something else I want to notice is this is definitely by far the smallest amount of shots that we have seen from one of these games.
Yeah, and I think that what we want to take away from this actually is that the midfield game was so much more important here.
Yeah.
It was all about controlling that area of the field, and with the low shot count, and by the way, the low shot count with the high score count for Delaware in particular tells me that the opportunities that they were having, they were converting. So a higher conversion rate is really good for Delaware because it tells the same story. The stats tell the same story that we were looking at and seeing, on the screen, in that Delaware were being more aggressive. They were taking advantage of the situations when they had the advantage, and then they were converting those into goals off the back of it. So Seton Hall, though, unfortunately, they just dropped off there in the second. And again, not that they played bad, that Delaware made an adjustment, got more aggressive, and Seton Hall had to figure out an answer to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Delaware, like you said, they were able to shoot on goal and score 50% of the time, where Seton Hall, they were sitting a little bit more around that 30% marker. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult for them to find those goals. But if Seton Hall can take an early advantage the way they did in Game 1, try to get 2 scores underneath their belt early on, and then play a very aggressive defense against Delaware, I think that could be super helpful for them. But of course, that is so much easier said than done. It sounds so simple, just score. But that's what the game's all about, is not letting that happen. So it's very difficult for these teams moving forward. And we see a great shot there from Grau, but Green is going to be able to give us the defense. 30 seconds off clock now, and Vibe's going to be heading right for that goal. Going to get interrupted a bit by somebody from Delaware. I did not catch the name. It's going to be Vixo with a great upset and going to give Grau possession of the ball, even if just for a moment.
Yeah, these two teams are so exciting to watch. I don't even care who wins at this point. I'm just loving this game. It's so high level, and I want to say just great job from both sides. But just barely.
Oh.
That nearly was denied, but Delaware do finally take that extra touch to put it in the back.
Yeah, Vixo with a great shot. It kind of almost gets denied, but Kendall with a phenomenal follow-up, going to be able to turn that around. Delaware now getting the first point online, I think, all series. I think we've seen Seton Hall score first every other game.
Oh, you're right, actually. That's definitely the case. And first time the Delaware has scored in the first minute as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe you are correct. I believe both of those things are a first year. Like I said, Delaware, this is much more close. This is much closer to the team that we know and love, and they are really starting to get warmed up. And okay, maybe they need to get a little more warmed up, because Seton is going to have a great shot. They're phenomenal aerial gameplay as well. So we see the toss up, kind of the go around, and Seton. Oh, actually, no. I see what happened.
He was trying to defend it, but listen, Seton still gets credit for that. I'll give it to him. It is what it is, and you know, if you put the ball in a spot where you force an own goal, hey, that's on you, mate. Good job.
Absolutely. If you know, maybe a little bit too slow of a reaction time, you're coming at the ball from the wrong angle, and that unfortunately for Delaware just throws away that lead they had for the first time in a long time. So almost another self-goal coming out there, but it looks like Vibes is going to be able to block that one. Grau does not get that shot on goal quite yet. And the midfield game going to be very important all over again. Grau accidentally passing it to an opponent. It's going to be stuck in his back third of the field.
Oh, what a great win there. That was beautiful. And it nearly was a goal, but fortunately saved away. Seton Hall, they are playing with fire at the moment.
Yeah, they really, really are. Both these teams like to play defense very close to their goal. And oh, Vixa just able to tap that one in seemingly effortlessly. Just does not put a lot of work into that. Gets it set up almost for themselves, and then is also the one to follow up on it. So Kendall was right there, even if Vixa did miss. Almost a guaranteed goal for Delaware in that situation.
Yeah, and another example where a secondary touch kind of put the ball into a position where Seton Hall certainly didn't expect it, and the rotations were not in a position to defend. And that's just a straight up miss.
No way.
It's just a straight up miss. Oh my goodness.
Oh, that was Kendall just sat and waited. Talk about patient. Sees Vixa with the setup, the defense misses, and Kendall just taps it in. That is all it takes around here. EGF #1 seed, my friends. That is going to be Kendall with what may be the most patient goal that we have seen all day.
Literally, like 3 people miss in front of him. He's like, oh, hey, look what I found. Pulls out a goal from pocket. Like, what the heck?
Oh, hey, check this out. And gently taps the ball into goal to give Delaware a 2-point lead as we enter halftime of Vibes with great aerial gameplay. Just barely going to tap it off the crossbar. And again, 3 minutes online. Seton Hall, plenty of time to score twice. But Delaware, they do have a comfortable lead for the time being.
A comfortable lead off the back of some insanity, to be fair.
Very true. Very
I think Seton Hall are thinking, well, if we just don't make that mistake, that's not a 2-goal lead. So they're not out of this yet, for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And like I always love to say, you know, Seton Hall, that was a bit of a fool me once situation. I doubt they're going to be falling for that again. They're going to be a little bit more careful. And Seton Hall, they really like to go for that jump defense where they boost themselves in and hit the ball out in midair. But it may be better for them to just play a little bit slower of a defense, try to have somebody near goal before the ball is on its way so they can adjust accordingly. But so far, just kind of that high-speed, high-octane defense is not necessarily working in their favor.
I really love, I want to compliment both teams here, by the way, on their dribbling skill. They're just so solid, right? Like, you know, there's definitely teams in this league who have, like, decent dribbling skill, but, like, this is elite dribbling skill, and it's really awesome to watch.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. I talk about that a lot with, well, you know, when I did cast Rocket League with Jag, we would talk about that a lot, and we would always talk about how in the higher seed teams, you see a lot of that aerial gameplay, and then kind of as you move down that seed placement, you see a lot more ground-based gameplay. So being able to play in that third dimension, kind of in that vertical, is so unbelievably important, much more than I feel a lot of people who don't play might not recognize.
I mean, it's that awareness. It's the extra dimension of your gameplay that makes it so impressive. And, well, another attempt there from Seton Hall does go wide. So, again and again, we're seeing Seton Hall make an effort, make a play on the ball, on the goal, but it's simply not turning into shots on target.
You know, this is definitely not turning into shots on target at all, and that's going to be a huge disaster just a little bit for Seton Hall. There's just a minute left on the clock, so that is going to be incredibly rough for them. They need to score twice in this minute. That is essentially once per 30 seconds, but now down just so much lower. Seton Hall, they may end up losing this right here after every game being so close. Delaware may walk away with a 2-point lead on this final one.
They sure might. Well, honestly, I think that scoreline would really undersell Seton Hall. So for their sake, I hope they pull up something here in the last 30.
Yeah, no, this is definitely something that you hope they're going to be able to pull off. I just love that, like you said, the recognition that Seton Hall, like, this scoreline will not show the people what happened here today, because Seton Hall, they have brought it down to the absolute wire, and then for the score to say 3-1, you're going to be like, oh, classic Delaware, right? Not at all. Seton Hall made this incredibly close. And Seton Hall, if any of you are watching, if any of your fans are watching, fantastic job today. You win, you win the one. You're unfortunately not able to take out Delaware, but again, they are that #1 seed. You do not get in that #1 position on accident. And at the end of the day, you made it crazy close.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at the shot composition, I know we've been kind of talking about this as a 3-point. There's only one difference, and that
Right.
is 2 shots the difference. And those were the 2 shots that Kindle took, both of those going in as well. So I mean, that just kind of communicates the how small the margins were in this game.
Yeah.
It was, again, you look at the score line on this game and the game 3, I think, and you're like, oh well, that it was a close first couple, and then Delaware ran away with it. No, that's not at all what happened. If you go back and watch the tape, you will see that is that's just the score on paper. In reality, Seton Hall, they had a great showing, but Delaware simply looking better. Over those last 2 maps, they really adjusted well. And like I was talking about before, whenever you see a team make adjustments in mid game, that's a team that you always want to keep an eye out for, because they
Absolutely.
are a step above the rest.
Absolutely. And I think that we're seeing a little bit from the University of Delaware, which we normally see from a lot of our high-tier teams, is they just thrive in that offensive position. They struggled a little bit on that defense, especially when Seton Hall was able to kind of keep things in momentum of Seton Hall. But as soon as Delaware was given the opportunity to flip that on its head, they absolutely did. And that's when I feel they really started to take this series away. Because we also saw this, we see this, like I said, with a lot of our top seed teams around here, is they are just absolutely cracked on the offense. Phenomenal performance all the way around. And then the defense is where we kind of find those cracks in the armor. And I think we saw that from Delaware. So it was going to be, a little bit of a mix-up coming through. Their defense was still very strong in terms of blocking the ball from goal. But in terms of going from defense to offense is where they really struggle.
Yeah, and I think that there was also a mental aspect of that after that loss in the 7-minute overtime. Like, you play that long into a game, I have to imagine there was some sort of mental, like, oh crap, we've just lost this game. It was such a heavy emotional investment, but still, I think a great showing from Seton Hall overall, but University of Delaware showing why they're number 1 seed, showing us exactly what they have to display, and saying, listen, we're not going down. We may have lost to UT Arlington, but we're not losing to number 3.
Absolutely. They have that one loss online, and they do not want to get any more. But, folks, that will be the end of the University of Delaware and Seton Hall. We will be right back after a break. Due to that 7-minute overtime, we do not have time for an interview here today with these teams. But we'll be right back. Manhattan College versus DePaul. So that's going to be quite the matchup to watch out for. We'll see you in just a minute.
Here, we do what others don't.
Dream what others won't.